Welcome to the Ghana Higher Ed Podcast, stories and systems from Ghana's higher education professionals. I'm Abigail Dzama Anderson. On this platform, we document the governance structures, institutional systems, and professional roles that quietly sustain our universities. Today's episode takes us into the financial backbone of campus development, the systems that ensure university projects are delivered responsibly, sustainably, and within budget. My guest is Mr. David Nartey Korda, Senior Quantity Surveyor and Acting Chief Quantity Surveyor at the Development Office, KNUST. He has over 17 years professional experience, qualifying as a quantity surveyor in 2009, and has spent his career working at the intersection of construction, cost management, and public sector accountability. In this conversation, we explore what a quantity surveyor in the University Development Office usually do, how cost planning supports campus master planning, managing budget for academic buildings, hostels, laboratories, and offices, why early cost advice is critical to successful projects, procurement systems and public sector compliance, managing variations, contract payments, and financial risk during construction, and how lifecycle costing helps universities think beyond just the cost of building. Universities are complex physical systems, and every lecture hall, laboratory, and residence hall represents careful planning, financial discipline, and collaboration across many professionals. If you have ever wondered how universities control the cost of building and expanding their campuses, this conversation would give you a rare inside look. Let's get into it. Welcome, Mr. Korda.
Thank you.
So, what does a quantity surveyor in a development office actually do?
So, quantity surveyors in general, and then specifically to the KNUST Development Office, we look at the financial and then contractual aspect of construction, infrastructure construction on campus, or in general, construction projects, and so on and so forth. So we look at the costs, and then also we look at the contractual obligations of the parties. So simply, we will look at estimating the initial cost. Okay. We will again look at managing the initial cost to meet the client's budgets. Right. Yes. So from beginning of the project, we put together what we call preliminary cost estimates, which informs the employer the probable costs of the project. If it is within the employer's budgets, then the designers will go ahead to do a detailed design. We will then do our bills of quantities, go through tendering, select suitable contractor, and then enter into a contract with the contractor. Then we manage the project.
All right.
So I think as we go on, we'll expand them.
That's fine. So does your role differ from a quantity surveyor in a private institution or a consultant?
Right. So our training basically is the same, but the space you find yourself on the environment may sometimes will tailor into specifics. So for our colleagues who work for contractors, their primary objective is to make money for contractors. Okay. That is, maximize profits. In our case, we also look at minimizing costs for our employer. Okay. So, whereas they are looking at making the best out of the project in terms of financial reward, we also try to minimize costs so that our clients, that is KNUST, will get value for money. Yes.
Okay.
So for them, every word within a contract or every line drawn, they'll look at the cost implication.
Okay.
Are we making some money out of it? Any instruction you give on site, can we translate it into money?
Okay.
We also sit back and look at whether they merit it or otherwise.
Okay.
Yes.
So then it differs depending on where you are.
You find yourself.
All right.
Yes, you
All
find
right.
yourself. It's
So-
like a defense attorney, and then you have, let's say, the plaintiff and then the defendant. The way where you find yourself will determine how you argue your matter.
I get it.
Yes,
So in a certain, like a development office in a
Yes,
university,
yes.
where does the role of a quantity surveyor, where does it start and
Okay.
end?
All right. Okay. So, because fortunately we have in-house complete consultants, so we have architects, and then we have quantity surveyors, and then engineers as well. So our role starts when a user department conceived an idea to execute a project. So let's say if you're outfit, today you conceive an idea that you want to put up a facility, then you approach the director of works. He is the project manager. Then he will then put together a team. So the team, we are part of it. Now, the quantity surveyor in general will look at whether or not the investment you want to do at that stage, the feasibility stage, is feasible, and then can advise you, right? So let's say you are an entrepreneur, you want to invest your money, right? So you have options. Either you do hostel, you do apartment, you do a hotel, and so on and so forth, right? So we can do investment analysis and tell you that what you want to invest within that environment, you are likely to make more money. So if you don't get us, you invest your money. So in an environment, you invest your money and then you lock up your capital.
No return.
That's right. So right from the beginning, even before the architect will do a detailed design, you need a quantity surveyor to advise. And then that could also inform the direction we take.
Okay.
Right.
And where does it end?
Then, so that is from the feasibility stage. Now, when we now decide on the direction to go, then the architect will then do a sketch design based on the brief from the employer. Then, after the sketch design, we'll do what we call preliminary cost estimate, right? So it is predicting the probable cost of the project. Then that will also determine whether you have enough budget for that project. So if you have enough budget for that project, then the architect will go ahead to detail the design. If not, then at that stage, we then need to guide together with the architects, make suggestions to you.
Okay.
Right? I mean, look at the material requirements in terms of specification, space requirements, and then do a design that will fit your budget. Then that is a preliminary stage. Then after we are certain that now the design will then fit your budget, then the architect will do the detailed design. The structural engineer will come and do his structural drawing, services engineer. Then we'll then prepare what we call bills of quantities, detailed one. And then we'll then look at which route to take in terms of procuring the project. So we are consultants, we are not builders. So we again have to then help the employer engage a contractor. So we'll go through a tendering process where we then select a contractor. Again, there we'll also advise which route to take depending on your circumstances. Right? So we have various procurement methods. So we have the competitive methods, right? And then we also have restricted methods, and then single source based on your requirements. Do you have time at hand? If time is of essence, then why are we opening it up for competition? It will take a longer period, right? Is it an emergency? Like when COVID happened,
Yeah.
we need to, let's say, put up an isolation center. Do we advertise openly, for meet the required number of months before we open it up? We evaluate, go through a process to seek approval before we
That
hit
would take
the
a long
ground running.
time.
That is it. So again, we are there to advise
Okay.
that based on the circumstances, this will be the best route to take, right? So then you engage a contractor. So after the engagement of the contractor, then we need to manage the obligations of the parties. Because when you formulate a contract, let's say between myself and you, we have an obligation to perform. You have yours to perform, I have mine to perform. So the team will then make sure that you perform your obligation. That is on the side of the contractor. And then on the side of the employer also perform his obligation under the contract. So we manage, that is contract administration. Then after the contract administration, right, we prepare what we call final account. So during the pendency of the project, we prepare interim certificates, right? Construction projects are not like, let's say, laptops where you can finish before you price. What we do is to predict the
cost
probable
involved.
cost. So at the end of the project, that is when you can then ascertain the actual cost. Right. So we pay the contractors on account. And after the completion, then you prepare a detailed expenditure. That is the final account, whether the employer owns the contractor or the other way around. And then the parties will then sign. At that point, the contract then stand discharged. Then I'm free to go. You're also free to go.
Wow.
Yes.
So, like, right from the start,
That's
from the
right.
conception
That
of
is
the
it.
the infrastructure,
Yes.
right to its
That's
completion, you have a crucial role
Here to play.
to play in that. Okay. Now, how do you support a university's master plan in terms of cost and value perspective? From that perspective, how do you support a university's master plan?
So in the case of the university, we have a master plan. So it's to more or less predict that we want to develop this, develop that. Now our role comes in where we would again do a cost to all the projects. And then the university can then decide that we have limited resource. So we cannot do all the projects at a go. Let us then put it in a scale of preference. So the cost would then guide them that pay our available resources. We can do project A, project B within this period. Thereafter, we can then move on to do project C, D, and so on and so forth. So again, it is crucial that we put a cost to it, and that will inform management that pay the cost and then our available resources. We need this project more than what this project. So you can then put it in that.
Prioritize it.
That is it.
All right. Yes. So from what you've said so far, it means the role of a quantity surveyor is critical right from the early stage.
That is it. That is very
Why?
true. Yes. So
if you don't come in, you are not brought in at that early stage.
Yes.
What goes wrong?
A lot to go wrong.
Okay.
Yes. So like I indicated earlier, when you conceive the idea to build, you have money you want to build. Then you decide, okay, I want to do apartment. Instead of doing hostel, you do apartment. Nobody comes, to more or less that business will not flourish.
Okay.
So you've locked up to your capital, right? So you need a quantity surveyor right from the beginning to advise that in the investment you want to do, per our professional view, we think that the options on the table, B is more viable than A and C, right? So if you invest your money and then you don't get any returns, right? And like I also said, if you don't know the cost of the facility, you don't know how much it will cost you to build. I mean, the Bible even says that anybody who wants to build must estimate what the
Count
cost.
the cost, yes.
If you fail to count the cost, then you'll be called, there's a name they will call you, right?
Yes.
Because you started a project and you couldn't finish, right? So if you fail to bring us in, that is a situation you find yourself. You start a project. And we have a lot of projects, around.
Okay.
Abundant projects, not on university campus or even individuals.
Okay.
And they lock up capital. Those capital could be working for the country. I mean, if they find themselves in the financial sector, it will help the nation a lot. But those people have invested, they will do the framework. They don't have money to complete. Right. So if you have a QS who then advise you, and you know that I can raise S amount to do it, then we'll do a design that can meet your budget.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. This is good advice. For anyone, even individuals undertaking personal projects and all that. That's good advice for them.
That is it.
Okay.
We don't cost much.
Okay. All right.
You see, if you fail to bring the professionals in, it will cost you more to rectify the situation.
In the long run.
So
the earlier the better.
That is it.
All right. So we'll take this advice. Can you think of a project where early cost advice, change the outcome?
Yeah, that's right. So there was one project, and we started. We did a design actually, and then we visited the site. Then something dawned on me that ask how much do they have to spend on the project? Because I keep on asking, I get a feedback that they've received some grants, they have money. Money is not a problem.
Okay.
Then later, when we confirm from
how much money
they have, we abandoned the project altogether. So if we went ahead, do all the documentation, start. The contractor, the amount they mentioned couldn't have paid for even the foundation.
Oh.
Right. So you see the problem we could have found ourselves in. Yes. So
that's a very good example. Yes. To get QS involved right from the early stage before you even start putting things onto the ground. Yes. Okay. So how do you prepare cost plans for academic buildings, hostels, labs, and things?
Right. So cost plans are there to guide you. So you use historical costs. So and then every facility is unique. If we look at this facility and then other facilities, the cost will not be the same because of the specifications and all that. So laboratories will cost a little more than open classrooms because of the special need in it. So preparing a cost plan, you must base on project specific. And then you look at previous work that has been done, and then you use that data to predict a future project. So for this, we can use this as a yardstick or a benchmark to predict a future project if we want to undertake a similar project in future.
All right. Yes. That's fine. And what are the most common causes of cost overrun? And maybe like university projects or something, the common causes.
Okay, so the common causes of cost overrun, one would be in terms of delay in payment,
Okay.
or when the project runs beyond its intended completion period. The second one will be where the designers didn't get the brief right.
Okay.
Right. So where the designers fail to get the brief right, it means that there's going to be massive changes during the construction. So you must get the brief right from the employer. You must put yourself in the shoes of the employer. If you fail to do that during the construction, you say, this is not what I envisage. Therefore, you must redesign and it's going to cost you, cost overrun. There are some cases where also, because the design at the time was not complete, and then we have to go for tender.
Okay.
There are occasions like that, not in the university setting alone, but in general.
Okay.
Because and more or less for like governmental projects, they have a tenure, and you must kick. You must start the project before complete it before the term ends, right? So in an event the design is not completely done, then there will be gaps in the tender document. In that instance, during the execution, they are likely to be cost overrun.
Okay.
Again, which normally we don't say, but disputes. Disputes can also be a major cause of cost overrun.
All right. What type of disputes?
So dispute on the construction. So there is a misunderstanding between the employer and then the contractor.
Okay.
About an issue.
All right.
Right. And then they couldn't resolve the matter. Then the matter end up in courts.
Okay.
And then you know how long it will take to resolve the matter in courts. And before, after the matter is resolved, and then when you then decide to continue with the project, let's say after 5 years, you can imagine the initial costs, and then it will quadruple, right? So disputes is also a major cause of
cost overrun.
Yes.
Okay.
Cost overrun.
Okay. So when that happens, how do you go about budget revisions without derailing deliverables?
Yeah, that's right. So there are processes. So within the university environment, we operate within a legal regime, the Public Procurement Act.
Okay.
So there is a Public Procurement Act. That is, the parent act is Act 663. And then it was amended, and then the amended act is Act 914. Right. So for public projects, you can then work within 10% above the initial contract amount. So if the cost overrun is within 10%, then you don't have an issue. If it's beyond 10%, then you then have to go for a modification, right? So the modification will determine, you go for a review from any of the tender review committees. Let me break it down.
Sure.
Right. So the KNUST Entity Tender Committee can approve projects for works up to a threshold of 1.5 million.
Okay.
So let's say if we awarded a contract, then the amount is 1 million. And then the allowable cost overrun should be 10%, meaning that we can exceed it up by 100,000. Now, if it goes beyond 100,000 up to 1.5, then we can then put together justification for the increase, and then the committee will sit on it and approve. Now, you need to go for the approval before the execution of those additional works, because they can decline the approval and then suggest whether you need to repackage the addition separately or otherwise. Right now, if it's beyond 1.5, then there is a Central Tender Review Committee in Accra.
Okay.
Right? It is the APES. So we then go to Central Review Committee and for the modification above 10%. Then you again have to give justification. If the justification is sound enough, they will grant you approval. And then they can then modify the contract. If they decline, then you then have to, they can then suggest appropriate means for you to execute the additions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in instances like this,
Yes.
where maybe let's say the architectural design and then the budget do not meet,
That's
how
right.
do you resolve this?
Yes, so we don't also want to more or less limit creativity, but we must also consider our limited resources, because we are competing with a lot of needs. So therefore, as much as we want our architects to blow their minds, what is central is that the facility should be functional. That is fundamental. Anything else is secondary. So if the budget can contain it, fine. Otherwise, is the facility fixed for purpose in terms of operations? If it meets, then so it is a compromise.
Go for the basics. If there is
that's
more,
right.
then you add on.
That is it.
All right.
That is it.
So in cases where there are disputes in quotes between you, QS, architects, and engineers on a project, how do you resolve that constructively so the project can proceed?
Yeah, that's right. So among the team members, at least we know our differences, because the way we are trained is different. Because for us, we want to manage costs. The architects want to be creative, right? And so therefore, we need to engage. So the key thing is communication.
Okay.
And so if you're an architect and then you have some idea, you don't go on to implement it without the other team members, because any decision of yours has cost implication. Therefore, you need to communicate that to your colleague who is the quantity surveyor, and then he can advise. So normally, when communication breaks down, that is where you have disputes. And so we normally encourage that as team members, we communicate more so that we understand. And the primary thing is that it is not your interest, but you look at the overall interest of the project. So as the team members, that should be at the back of our mind, that it's not what you want, but what the sources of the project should be our primary goal. The project should be completed within budget, within the quality expected of it, and then within time. So that should be our primary aim, not Keche.
All right.
Will come later.
I get you.
Yes.
If you are enjoying conversations like this about systems that make our higher education institutions run, please subscribe to the Ghana Higher Ed podcast. Each week, we sit with professionals who help these institutions, the universities, to run with their work, often behind the scenes. There's a new episode every Wednesday at 4:00 p.m. GMT. Back to the conversation, Mr. Korda. Now, what information from user department would you say is often missing, and why?
So, like I indicated earlier, if we get the brief wrong from the user department, it can also contribute to cost overrun. So one, the user department, you must let us know your space requirements. So if a particular college, they want to put up a facility, you must let us know how many lecture halls do you need? How many laboratories do you need? The capacity of the lecture halls in terms of students' capacity. Offices, how many people will share the offices? The provost office. So there are occasions where you say the provost office is too small. Right.
Okay.
The provost says, I need an office that can also host meetings there. So if you mix up all this information, and then during construction, say, the space is too small. I need a space to host meetings as well. Right. The student capacity, we should also project into the future. So if currently you admit, let's say, 200 students, do we use that for the design? Or do we project that in future we are likely to increase intake? So we should do 300. So not midway the project. Now student
numbers are increasing.
So please open up. Right. So and then the operations, what are you going to use the facility for? Right. Because if it's a laboratory, then the design and then the specification is entirely different matter. Right. And so if we miss all this, then we'll have huge cost overrun during the execution of the project.
Okay.
Yes. So it is better you engage the user department, and then you understand what they want. And then from their point, it shouldn't also come from one person. At least from their end, they must also have a stakeholder meeting, get to know everybody's need.
Okay.
Because your need will differ from an accountant and a lecturer and so on and so forth. So that when we do the design, we'll meet everybody's need.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means the user departments need to provide a lot of information. All the information they have, they need to give it to you right from the start.
That's right from the start.
All right.
Yes.
So you mentioned procurement.
Yes.
Now, how do you balance the lowest tender price and then value for money when it comes to public procurement? How do you balance that?
Okay, right. So for value for money, right? So we have what we call the least evaluated tenderer, not the least tenderer. So at the tender opening, you are likely to be the least, but you are not the least evaluated.
Okay.
So we will then have to assess during the tendering. In the document, we put together a criteria like exams, marking scheme.
Okay.
You must let the students know how you are going to assess them at the end of the day. Same way, we will let the contractors know how we are going to assess you at the end of the day.
Okay.
So we put in criteria. So the requirement, we look at your past experience. We look at your financial capability. We look at your personnel. We look at your plant holding. And then it's also project specific. So if you are putting up, let's say, a laboratory, we will then require a contractor who has done similar projects in the past in terms of scope and magnitude.
Okay.
So if we are putting up, let's say, a 50 million laboratory block, and then what you've done is 2 million, you don't have the capacity to execute it. So though if we advertise openly, we cannot restrict you. So though you have put in your bid, you are the lowest, but you don't even meet the requirements. So in terms of experience, you don't have it. Then we also put in financial capability. So we are doing 50 million projects. Then what is your turnover at the end of the year? Your revenue altogether, right? Your turnover is 1 million. The project is 50 million. You don't have the financial muscle for the project. Though you are the list,
Yeah.
you don't have the financial muscle for the project. We are saying that we are doing like Kabi building is 9 levels. We are doing 9 levels. Do you have a crane? You don't have a crane as a contractor. You don't have the capacity to execute
can't go there.
You can't do that. Right. So on that score, you don't meet the requirement. So there are occasions, like the Kabi building, we started with, we received about 28 tenders,
Wow.
contractors.
Wow.
Yes. At the end of the day, I think about only 3 of them have the capacity to do it, who met all the requirements per the contract. So sometimes you hear in the news, oh, I was the list, oh, I didn't get the job.
Okay.
We are looking at the list evaluated. So at the end of the day, we'll do the assessment. Those who made the assessment, the list, the one with the list amount is responsive. He will then get a job.
Okay.
Yes. And then we are getting value for money because the one who turnover is about 1 million, we are doing 50 million project. He can't even do the foundation. He will run away. He don't have crane. He can't do the project. So if we invest in him, we won't get value for money. At the end of the day, we'll throw money away. We won't get value. So value for money necessarily does not mean that you are getting the list. You are getting the list, meeting all the set requirements.
Okay, so not just the lowest tender price.
Yes,
not at all.
Not at all.
It's much more to that.
Much more to that.
Okay.
Yes.
What are some common mistakes, procurement mistakes, you say user department or even contractors make?
So, with the contractors, one, like I indicated in terms of the criteria and the requirement, some don't have professionals to put together their documents. So there are occasions where we will say that the tender, your tender, the validity period should be 120 days, meaning that your offer to us is valid within 120 days. And within the 120 days, we should be able to go through all the process and enter into a contract with you. And then within the instruction to tenderers, that one is a standard tender document prepared by PPA, Public Procurement Authority. So there is also a clause that beyond what the entities will stay, your tender security should be valid 28 days beyond what is stated. So if it is 120, you must again add 28 days. They don't do it. Some also even don't meet the 28 days. Right. And then again, we say that the document should be signed and sealed. Sometimes they don't sign it. And then even when they are pricing, they make some mistakes. So there are occasions where you'll be the lowest tenderer, but after doing the evaluation, we check for errors. You are likely to be the highest because you didn't take your time to do the extensions and so on and so forth. Then they will accuse us that we've added values to some contractors because
but there were errors in the calculations.
So they make errors. So you may be the lowest, but you end up being the highest. Yes, you end up being the highest.
Okay, so we've seen some of the mistakes. So you need to do your calculations very well. You also need to sign your documents and then the validity period to make sure you meet all those days. Okay, that's fine. Now, when it comes to interim payments, how do you certify interim payments and verify work done?
Right, okay. So, like I indicated earlier, construction projects, the cost is determined upon completion. What we advise payment, they are interim. So they are not final. They are not firm. The accountant will say payment on account, right? So before we make the payment, we do site inspection and we do periodic measurement. So when the project starts, if you are the project KOS, they've started with excavation. Quickly, you go and do the measurement, and then you keep it. They've done concrete work, you take the measurement. So it's then up to a stage where the contractor will then request for payment. Then you put together. Normally, what in practice the contractors will submit their interim valuation. They will need to do verification. So we do joint measurement to avoid disputes. So that could also be a disadvantage where you underpay a contractor. It's a big deal. So we then do joint measurement. Let's all go to site.
Yes.
Let's go and measure what you are claiming you've done. And then we verify so that we pay for work actually executed.
Okay.
So as a QS, you must be on the ground. You can't be in your office and then say that you are preparing certificates. You must go and measure and verify. Yeah. So where we say that it should be work properly executed. So when we go to site and then there are defective works, we exclude it.
Okay.
So we say fix a certain door per the contract, and we'll go into the contract.
Okay.
We said that you should do a particular door. If you fail to do that, then you have to remove it. And then we cannot include it in our statement of payment.
So only the works properly executed will be paid for.
Will be paid for.
Okay.
Will be paid for. And then also, interim certificates also includes price adjustment, right? Meaning, if there is a provision in the contract where it makes room for changes in prices, where you can compensate the contractor or compensate the employer when prices go up or prices drop.
Okay.
Right. So we do that adjustment and compensate them because the price for the project is predicted at the tender opening. So during the tender opening, let's say when the contractors were putting together their document, cement was selling at 80 cedis. When work actually started, cement is now selling at 120 cedis. So he based on his estimate using
the 80
cedis. The employer would then have to compensate the contractor for that increase. In an event, prices also goes down. Now cement is selling at 70 cedis. Then the employer must also benefit.
Okay.
Yes. So
it's both sides.
Yeah, both sides. And let me say this: that from last year up to now, because prices has gone down or stabilized, we have projects that now the employer is now benefiting from price adjustment. Yes, we are getting some negative values because the data the contractors use for putting together their documents at the time of the tender, let's say a year or a little over, now things has changed. So now it is benefiting us.
Okay.
It's now benefiting
us.
us.
That's fine.
Yes.
So I was coming to the variations.
Right.
That's what usually triggers variations, and how do you ensure that it doesn't derail cost?
Yes. So variations, one can be triggered by the employer. So the employer can change his mind that instead of, like we indicated, if you don't get adequate information from the user department during the execution of the actual work, there are likely to be variations. Because their design wouldn't have to be modified, right? It could also be the employer has also changed his taste, or the architect also wants a certain changes to be done. It could also be that during the preparation of the document, we also miss certain vital information. That will also be a trigger for violations,
Okay.
right? And then I think we've talked about how we go through the process
Yes,
to seek
yes.
for approval.
Yes. That's
Eh,
fine. So, in this case, with variations and costs and all, how do you maintain financial discipline while still maintaining good relationship with the contractor?
Yes. So, with the contractor, it is what we want that you do. So, if you are getting violations that possibly will reduce his contract amount, that is where they will have issue.
Okay.
And that is now you are saying that instead of doing a certain scope, you want to reduce the
Reduce it.
scope. Therefore, you have also cut down his profit, his expected profit margin. With that, they will
have
have an
issues.
issue with it. But in an event, the changes is likely to rather increase, they won't have an issue.
of course.
That is where we would then have to manage it to meet our budget, right? So we then have to sit down with the project team and say that, look, we have a fixed budget we are working with. Therefore, the changes you want to bring on board, some can be accommodated, some cannot. Yes, so that, and like I said also, it borders on communication. Communication is key, so that the parties will then come up with what a workable solution. So the architect, you can't go straight away, go to site and start giving instructions.
Let's
They
work
have cost
together.
implications. Or if a contractor, you also execute a work that you have not received proper approval, the quantity surveyor cannot include it in his statement of payment. So when we are preparing our statement of payment, variation orders must properly be ordered and authorized and approved. So some the project manager can approve. About certain threshold, the employer himself or herself must give approval.
Okay.
Failure to do that, we don't have any mandate to request or recommend payment.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So while construction is ongoing, what major financial risks do you monitor?
Yeah. So we look at the contractor's solvency. Yeah. So you look. So in that instant, we also put in place certain mechanism. That is why it is better you do a very good evaluation of the contractors, right? So on the evaluation panel, you need somebody with financial background, where the person can interrogate their financial statement properly. So though they are saying their turnover is 10 million, on paper, actually, that may not be the case. So you look at whether the contractor is solvent or otherwise. And then the signs will show progress on site is reducing. When you go for meetings, they report on materials on site is missing. Their labor strength is going down. They are not meeting the program, the timelines. Then it means that it's a red flag. The contractor more or less is becoming insolvent. Then you need to put in measures to prevent that. So we request from the contractors performance bond,
Okay.
right? A security to secure the performance of the contractor, right? When you pay advance mobilization, we also secure it with advanced mobilization security. So in an event the contractor becomes insolvent, you can fall upon the company that have more or less guarantee to get your money or to get the project completed.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Can you think of one dispute that led to better systems or policies as a result of that dispute?
From the in terms of the the parties,
Yes.
the parties.
Any dispute that came up, and as a result, now there are better systems or policies in place.
Yeah. On top of my head, we haven't really had any dispute for say,
Okay.
right? Where we've not gone for any arbitration yet,
Okay.
or mediation yet. We've not done any litigation with contractors yet, right? But there are triggers where they will express their disagreement about certain decisions. So the contracts make rooms for compensations.
Okay.
So the employer is compensated in an event the contractor fails to deliver the project on time. The employer will get compensation. So in an event, I'm a builder, and then you've engaged me to put up your apartment for you. You are in a rented apartment, and then your intention is that by the close of the year, you are moving into your apartment. I failed to deliver. I must compensate you.
Okay.
So that compensation must be part of the contract that liquidated damages. In an event I fail to deliver, then I will need to look for an alternative accommodation for you. Right?
While you
Or
wait for the project
to be completed. So if you've engaged me to put up a hostel, I deny you of rent or revenue, I must compensate you for it. Right? Same way where the employer also fails to make payment on time. So per the contract, we say that when the project manager satisfied to the employer to make payment, within 28 days, the employer must pay. If you fail to pay, then the employer must compensate the contractor for interest on delayed payment.
Okay.
With us, we have issues with the contractors. And it is not, it's a general condition. We cannot modify it. It's a PPA condition.
All right.
So we've had issues with some contractors in the past, but we've managed to negotiate our way out. But the issue is that it is not deliberate. We are struggling to raise money to pay you, let alone come and pay interest on top. Though you've also gone in possibly for a loan. So we will need to come to some compromise. We may pay a portion of it to meet you halfway, but to more or less demand your contractual right, we try to negotiate some of these issues. So we've not had any serious dispute. But disputes come in when the parties are unable to resolve their matters. So we try as much as possible to resolve it, and then so that we don't bring in a third party in.
That's fine. That's fine. Make everyone happy. Yes. So, why would you say life cycle costing matters for university more than private developers?
Right. So for life cycle cost, it's important for the university. We have limited resources, and then life cycle costs look at the initial costs vis-a-vis maintenance or operational costs, and then eventual disposal. So there are occasions where the initial cost is likely to be lower, but the maintenance cost is going to be higher. So when we do life cycle costing, we can then advise you that, look, though initially it will cost you X amount, but it will cost you more to maintain it. But if we put in sustainable, in your intro, you talk about sustainability.
Yes.
So we look at sustainable materials, and then quality materials. It is likely, and then energy efficient systems. It is likely to cost you less when you are running it. So the running cost plus the maintenance cost is going to reduce. And then at the end of the day, in the long run, the option A, that will cost you less. It will cost you more to run it, and it will cost you more to replace it than when you invest more initially. It will cost you less to run it, and it will cost you less to maintain it. So it is very important that as an institution, we look at life cycle costing seriously so that we invest in energy efficient and then sustainable and environmentally friendly facilities. Yes.
That's very important.
Yes.
So, how does maintenance and operational costs influence your cost advice?
Yes. So, like I indicated, if this facility is going to cost you more to cool it, it's going to add on to your running cost. If this facility will cost you more to maintain it, it's going to cost you more to maintain the facility. So we can then do that projection and say that for the initial, let's look at options that will have less running costs because the design is such that is green building will use less energy, therefore will consume less energy. Our electricity costs will be reduced drastically. It will also help our health, right? And then even replacement of the component would also cost us less. So it is very important that we look at maintenance costs right from the beginning.
Okay.
Yes, right.
So you've mentioned sustainability.
Ability,
So, what cost implications for sustainability do you think is worth considering?
Yes. So for sustainable buildings, I think right from the beginning, the design must be designed such a way that we incorporate sustainability element in it. We can also look at energy efficient facilities where we can looking for, let's say, instead of using more of power from the national grid, we use more of solar, right? So look at innovative energy sources, right, which is sustainable. And then that could also reduce our costs as well.
All right. If you are enjoying this conversation, please take a moment and subscribe to the Ghana Higher Ed podcast. It helps the platform to keep showing conversations like this to you. Now, Mr. Korda, what is one KNUST myth that people have?
With us, if you bring them on board, of course you can't do your building the whole thing. Is it because like, let me break it down.
Sure.
They'll make the project expensive.
Okay.
We don't make projects expensive. We predict the cost of projects. And then also help you to make informed choices.
Okay.
Right. So as for them, they'll make your project expensive.
That's a myth.
It shouldn't be the case.
All right. Now we know it's a myth.
It
Okay.
shouldn't be the case.
So, what key performance indicators tells you that a campus project is financially healthy?
Yeah. So projects that are completed within costs, within the time allowed, and then to the quality expected of the project, then we can say that that project has been successful.
All right.
That project has been successful because we've been able to work within the employer's budgets. And then we have completed it also within the employer's expected time. Or if it's a hostel facility, and then school, let's say this academic year will start early, right? We are going back to
In
the
October, yes.
October. So if the project is, we are able to complete the project before October, it means that the employer can then admit students. If failure to do that, you've not helped the employer. The project or the facility will lie
Idle for a long
for a
time.
whole academic cycle. Right.
Okay, so within budget
Within
and
budget.
completed within timeline.
And meeting all the standard expected within the contracts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's fine.
Yes.
So if you submit a cost report to management, what would you want management to take a look at
Yeah.
in that report?
Yeah. So in that report, management should look at the initial costs and look at now the anticipated costs, and look at also in terms of fluctuations, are we within allowable limits? So changes in price, because if the fluctuation limits are going up, that alone is a driver to show that we are likely to go for a modification of the contract. Because if the cost of construction inputs has gone up beyond 10%, then it means that by projecting, the project is likely to exceed the allowable limit. So the employers will have to look at those. Look at with the anticipated cost, are you going to exceed the allowable 10%? If we are going to exceed the allowable 10%, then what are the measures we need to put in place? How much has been paid? How much is left to be paid? So that if how much has been paid, how much is left to be paid, the FO must look for money. That within this space of time, we need this amount
of money.
the amount of money to be able to get the project completed.
Okay.
And then also they must also more or less look at the percentage of work completion. Which level are we as at the time of reporting?
Okay.
Yes.
So then the cost report is a document that management must really pay attention to.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Can you think of a project that went off track? What happened and how it was corrected?
So quite a number of projects went beyond the expected
Time.
Yes. Some the ones that went way beyond the expected time, we can look at funding as an issue. So the Get Fund projects, teaching hospital. The teaching hospital was started sometime in 2007. That was when I was employed.
Okay.
So close to about 19 years. We still have it
Uncompleted.
uncompleted. Because of funding gap, we don't have the funding for it. It keep on coming in bits. So now, though we've gone pretty far with it, with a little government push, we are likely to get it completed. But because of funding gap, the project has been lying there for close to about 20 years. We have another one close to the medical school as well. It's also a Get Fund project. It's also a funding issue. The project is still not completed. One is also at the business school area, and so on and so forth. So the major issue we have is funding, and where it derailed the expected completion
Of the project.
projects.
So
And then there are some instances where also change of scope, where initially we decide to go a certain height, and then during the execution, then management will decide that because of projections, let's go a little higher than the initial height. So
Okay.
if, let's say we intended to do 6 levels, now we are doing about above 6 levels. That could also change the character of the project altogether.
Okay, I get it. Can you think of a cost-saving decision you are proud of?
We're quite a number. Yeah, so like when we were talking about interim certificates, yes, we verify the contractors' submissions, and if we can put together the amount that after our verification, quite a huge. Yes. There was one instance where they brought a certificate at the end of the day, we couldn't process it because they were making claims that were not.
Right. You couldn't verify
We
them.
couldn't verify. Yes. So we could say that our certification and verification has saved the university quite a lot of money because if you have in-house consultants, we are always on the ground. When you have outside consultants, it's difficult to monitor everything that happens on the project. So that we have saved the university. We've saved the university a lot of money.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
It's like you said, we do a lot of things that goes unnoticed. Well, possibly we should start documenting them.
And this platform is doing that. See the crucial work that goes on behind the scenes to get these projects up and running for lectures, for laboratories, for hostels. Okay. Can you think of some lessons learned from delayed or abandoned projects? Any lessons learned?
Yeah. So some lessons learned. One, to have a successful project, you must have a very good planning at the planning stage, right? So when you bring all the stakeholders together from the beginning, they all bring on board their inputs. It enrich the design and then the document. Then you have a solid document, right? So when you have a solid document, during the execution of the work, you have minimal changes,
Okay.
right? But when you fail to do proper planning, it affects the execution as well. So one is very good planning. And then also communication with the team members is also key, right? So communication must also be there. Then with the abundant project, like I said, with us as an institution, we've done very well for ourselves. But where we have issue have to do with where we receive funding outside.
External. So it's not within your powers.
Yes, we can't control it. But what we have also done properly for ourselves is that we also try to phase out the projects. Right. So though they will tell us they've allocated S amount to all of for let's say a whole school. So you have various facilities. So what we do is we will concentrate on one facility, get it completed, and then the facility can be used. So there are schools where we have various facilities, but we've managed to complete one, and then the others are at various stages of completion.
But at
Well,
least some part has been completed and being
then
used.
being used. Yes, so we also try to break them down. That has also helped us so that we don't lock up capital. We've invested money, but it's of no use. Yes, it's of no use. And then also, contractor selection is also key because the success of every project depends on all the parties. So the employer has a big role to play, the consultants, and then the contractors. So if you select an incompetent contractor, you have a hell of time as a consultant, right? And it also would also, you may not meet all your KPIs.
For the project.
Yes, so contractor selection is also very key. So that the period of selecting contractors is also key where the project team must take their time and then take the right decision. So you don't get a problematic contractor. If you get a problematic contractor, there will also be cost overrun because the project will delay, and then also there will be time overrun. You can't use the facility for the period you needed it. So selection of contractors is also very, very key. Very, very key.
All right. Now let's come to your journey into quantity surveying in the university. Korda, how did you get here?
Yes,
A quantity surveyor working in the university.
It's a long journey.
Okay.
Yes, so I have a privilege of attending a technical school. Very few people have that privilege. Majority of you attend secondary school.
True.
So the privileged few, I'm one of them. So I attended the technical school. So I read carpentry and joinery. So in the midway, I developed the interest that one day I will become a quantity surveyor. So through poly, then I came to read building technology. And then here I am today.
Wow. That's nice.
Then I must also add that during that journey, I also decided to read law. So I'm also a lawyer of about 10 years standing at the bar.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So beyond quantity surveying, I also look into disputes.
Of course, because I could hear some law terms when you were. Okay, that explains it.
Yes.
All right, so that's interesting. So it's helping your profession. You execute your profession. Okay.
Every decision you take, you know the
Legal implications.
Yes.
All right. So what skills do you think are important in your profession or like at the development office, apart from like, numbers and figures? What other skills are important for professionals like that?
Your communication skill is crucial, and then your negotiation skills too. We deal with parties. Even the way you communicate with your employers is also crucial, because the way you communicate an issue will determine the outcome of the matter.
Very
Same
true.
way with the contractors. There are occasions where we need them, and if you don't have that skill, it's difficult to get them. And so as professionals, beyond our calculation and measurement, you need to develop that skill, how to negotiate issues with the parties, among your colleagues, among your superiors, that is your employers, and then also the contractors. They are also our stakeholders, all the stakeholders. So we need them. So our communication skill is crucial, and then also our negotiation skills. Yes.
All right.
Because we negotiate with the contractors, but where there are variations, you need to have a negotiation, right? And then the way you confront them will determine how the outcome would be. Yes, so it's crucial.
Okay. What is the best career advice you received?
from my mentor, Surveyor Alessio Aslevi. Yes, so he mentored me,
Okay.
a good and solid professional. And then he says, you must be firm and fair. Firmness don't mean you should be like ready for
Physical.
blows. Yes, yes. But your yes must be yes. Your no must be no. Yes. So I look soft outside, but when I take a decision, your yes
You are
must
firm.
be yes. And then people will know that, yeah, this is what you stand for. And then you must also be fair. To contractors, to other parties, you must be fair. Because if you are unfair to a contractor, it is a trigger for dispute. Yes, so I hold that dearly, and that in our practice, we must be fair and then firm
Fair.
as well.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yes.
So the final question, what's your advice to a student or a young quantity surveyor who is considering working in a university setting?
Yeah, so to our students, passion for your career is important. Any career path you take, you must have passion for it. You shouldn't look at monetary rewards. Monetary reward will land you in trouble. Yes, so in every profession, if you're a medical doctor and then you are not passionate about your profession and you think about monetary reward, you get yourself in trouble. If you're a lawyer, some lawyers, they find themselves on the wrong side of the law. Your license can be suspended for a number of years. So for young quantity surveyors or prospective quantity surveyors, yes, our advice is that they should look at developing the career first before the reward.
Okay.
The reward will come. Every profession, so far as you're a professional, the reward will certainly come. So they should. Hard work is important. So they should be hard. They should work hard at the academics, and then build themselves professionally, and then the monetary reward will come.
Will follow.
Will follow. Yes, will follow. So some students see, they say, hey, consultants, they have money. It takes years to build confidence, and then the confidence will translate into the reward.
Yeah.
So
You should focus on the work
on
first.
the work,
The reward will come.
develop yourself along the path. The reward will come.
All right. This has been a fascinating conversation with Mr. David Nartey Korda. Today's discussion reminds us that campus development is not only about design and construction, it's also about financial discipline, accountability, and long-term value for institutions. Quantity surveyors play a critical role in ensuring that university projects are delivered responsibly, balancing design and ambition, public procurement requirements, and sustainable life cycle costs. Their work helps universities build infrastructure that supports teaching, research, and student life for generations. If you found this conversation insightful, please subscribe to the Ghana Higher Ed podcast and share the episode with colleagues interested in infrastructure, development, and higher education systems. New episode drops every Wednesday at 4:00 p.m. GMT. I'm Abigail Dzama Anderson. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next conversation.